Hello everyone. Today's we will discuss about a new topic, that is hypothalamus in human anatomy and physiology in topic endocrinology or system of endocrine. In previous video we studied about introductions of endocrine and exocrine and example of endocrines and exocrine. Then it's secreted hormones from the particular endocrine glands and their functions. Now in this video we are going to start a next topic, that is hypothalamus. So first, hypo hypo means is nothing but the conditions means decrease or less or reduce the particular hyper conditions. So that hypo means to decrease. Then uh, thalamus thalamus is a small structure within the brain, located just above the brain stem and between the cerebral cortex. Then thalamus is functions of this thalamus is a relay motor and sensory signals to the cerebral cortex, means it receives the signals or impulses from the sensory nerve to the and reaches to the brain, and then brain release some impulses against the reactions, against the actions, and then to the cerebral cortex, and cerebral cortex receive the impulses from the brain in the form of motor nerves and then transfer to the peripheral part of the body. So this is a simple about the hypothalamus. Then next, hypothalamus is composed of a number of a group of nerve cell, means is consist of a group of nerve cells. Nerve consists of neurons. Then these neurons helps for the transfer of impulses from one neurons to another neurons, and it get actions. Then next, locations of the hypothalamus. It is situated below and in front of the thalamus and immediately above the pituitary glands. So this is a simple diagram of a hypothalamus. This structure represents as like a hypothalamus. Then this hypothalamus, these two sac-like structure, that is one is red color indicates the anterior lobe and blue color indicates the posterior lobes. Then this is the thalamus, and this thalamus, the red color indicates the parathyroid pituitary glands. So this is the simple locations of the thyroid hypothalamus below and in front of the thalamus. So this is the thalamus in front of and below the thalamus. Then immediately above the pituitary glands. So this is a pituitary glands, and now slightly above the hypothalamus present from pituitary glands. So this is simple locations of the hypothalamus. Then next, hypothalamus is linked in a two different ways, that is posterior lobe and anterior lobe. So this is the anterior lobe and this is the posterior lobe. Then what is the functions of these lobes, two lobe, posterior lobe and anterior lobe? So functions is posterior lobe of the pituitary glands by nerve fibers, and they secrete some hormones. We have already discussed about the posterior glands, which hormones secreted by the posterior gland, such as antidiuretic hormones, oxytocin hormones and vasopressin hormones. These hormones are secreted from the pituitary posterior glands of posterior lobes. Then next, anterior lobe, it is a complex system of the blood vessels. Then in pituitary gland, anterior lobe secretes some hormones, that is a growth hormone, then thyroid stimulating hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormones, then gonadotropin releasing hormones in pituitary glands. Then in hypothalamus, anterior lobes complex system of a blood vessels, and these connections between the posterior lobe and anterior lobe, the hypothalamic controls the output of a hormones from both lobes of the glands, means connections between the two lobes, the hypothalamus control the releasing of hormones from the hypothalamus. Then anterior lobes, two important hormones secreted from the anterior lobes, that is a hypothalamic releasing hormones and hypothalamic inhibiting hormone. If hypothalamic releasing hormone stimulated anterior pituitary glands, then it secretes the some hormones, that is first growth hormones releasing hormone, thyroid thyrotropin releasing hormones, then corticotropin releasing hormones, gonadotropin releasing hormones, and prolactin releasing hormones. If hypothalamus is stimulated and stimulated the pituitary gland, then if hypothalamus inhibitory hormones, then two major hormones is secreted. If hypothalamus is inhibit means to decrease or to suppress, then it releases two hormones, that is a growth hormones, inhibitor hormones, and then prolactin inhibiting hormones. These two hormones secreted by, if hypothalamus is inhibited, then it secretes some hormone. Then next functions of the hormones, functions of the hypothalamus: it controls autonomic nervous system, then it controls appetite and satisfied feelings of being full after the eating, then regulations of the thirst means dehydration, it maintain the water level, water balance inside the body, then it maintenance of the emotional, personality and social behavior, then regulations of a body temperature. Hypothalamus playing an important role for the regulations of body temperature. It regulates and control the release of hormones from the pituitary glands. So we have already discussed when pituitary glands activate. If hypothalamus, it activate the pituitary glands or gonadotropin releasing hormone, then it releases some hormones. So hypothalamus control the pituitary glands, then it controls the sexual behavior, and it regulates the biological clock. So this is a simple introductions about or physiology of the hypothalamus. In annual theory exams, ask the questions, write down the physiology of hypothalamus and then its functions. So this is a simple physiology and diagram of the hypothalamus. Then next come to the thyroid gland. Next gland, that is the thyroid glands. Then thyroid gland, first structure of this thyroid gland. This is a simple structure of first larynx or the thyroid cartilage, then this butterfly shape like structure, that is a right lobe and left lobe, that is completely thyroid glands. Then this is a red color indicates some parathyroid glands present both the lobes, right as well as the left lobe. Then between when thyroid gland plays on trachea, this is a trachea tube, then this is a chest part of sternum. So this is a simple structure of a thyroid gland. Then anatomy of thyroid gland: it is lies in the neck in front of the larynx and trachea. The weight of about thyroid gland 25 to 30 grams weight of the thyroid gland. Then it is butterfly shape, has two lobes, one of either side of the thyroid cartilage. So this is a right lobe, a left lobe, and this is a right lobe. Then on its posterior side are of each lobes are two parathyroid glands. So this is each lobe consists of two parathyroid glands. This is some box like structure, red color indicates the parathyroid glands present in both side of lobes. Then what is parathyroid gland? Gland is made up of cuboidal epithelial tissue, epithelial cell, and which forms the spherical follicles. Means parathyroid is made up of the epithelial cell, cuboidal epithelial cells, and this cuboidal epithelial cell secretes the colloids in the follicles, means some it formations or secreted of some follicular cells. Then these follicles secretes the protein, or this protein this protein is also called as the thyroglobulin. When in this thyroglobulin, the particular iodines or iodines present in the form in thyroid gland in the form of thyroglobulin. Then spherical this cuboidal epithelial cells which form the spherical follicles, and it is a cell and which secretes the calcitonin hormone from the thyroid gland. Then thyroid gland has a very rich supply of blood in the body. Then more than 80% of a body iodine is located in the thyroid gland. Means in this thyroid gland 80% of iodine located in the thyroid gland. Then next, physiology. Under the influence of a thyroid stimulating hormone, when thyroid stimulating hormones it secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, if hypothalamus send a message to the anterior pituitary gland, then this anterior pituitary glands it secreted the thyroid stimulating hormones, and these thyroid stimulating hormones after the stimulating, then it releases some follicular cell produce, and these follicular cells produce the T3 and T4. So T3 is a triiodothyronine and T4 is a tetraiodothyronine, or also called as a thyroxine. These T3 and T4 combinations Then these two are the iodine containing thyroid hormones. So these T3 and T4 the iodine containing hormones present in the thyroid gland or secreted from the thyroid glands. Then this iodine store in the form of a thyroglobulin. Now this is the formations of a thyroglobulin. If epithelial cells secretes the colloids in the follicles, and it secretes the protein, and protein is also called as a thyroglobulin. So iodine present in the thyroid gland in the form of thyroglobulin, and iodine is absorbed from the about 50 mg of iodine is required every years uh, requirement of iodine is a 50 mg. Then this iodine is absorbed from the GIT and enters the circulations and absorption. Then absorption in a two way is excreted in the urine, or either it taken up by the particular thyroid gland. So this is a simple physiology of the thyroid gland. Then next point of this physiology, there is an increase in the basal metabolic rate and heat production, means BMR also increased by the thyroid glands. Then it regulations of a carbohydrate, fat and protein metabolism. Then normal growth and development of a skeleton and nervous system also depend on the particular thyroid glands. Then it has effect on a heart, skin, muscles, digestive system and reproductive system also depend affect thyroid gland on this particular system. Then calcitonin reduce then absorptions of a calcium by the renal tubule and decrease the blood level of a calcium. So calcitonin hormones, these hormones is secretes the calcium inside the body. Then next, functions of the thyroid glands. So this is the simple functions of thyroid gland. First function, increase in the basal metabolic rate, effect on growth. Then effect on carbohydrate, fat and proteins metabolism. And next, effect on heart and increase the muscles vigor. So this is the simple functions of a thyroid hormones or thyroid glands. Thank you so much.